well, but ADC plays a darn good Nacroft.
Right, so this is actually swung over to Vietnam's favor in the Nacroft-Darcy battles.
And of course, if Vietnam go Darcy ban Nacroft, they've got the best jungler in the game with no counter at Nacroft.
Right, and they even have Tulin as well.
Yeah.
Who, is kind of seen as a soft counter to, well, a hard counter if it's in the same lane. But if they're in, off matchups, then he's still pretty good against Darcy.
So, Vietnam winning the chess match that is this draft right now.
A little bit.
There's the jungle lock. Chinese Taipei get rid of any ambiguity by locking in the Lindis here. Well, presumably played in jungle. I think you're about to mention it could be played in the side lane as well.
I wasn't about to mention that. I was about to mention in the group stages that Lindis played against Darcy a lot, and Darcy won like every single time.
Yeah.
So, but then again, Chinese Taipei never lost in the group stage either. So which will win out?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not. Okay, all of our theory crafting is going down the toilet.
Nobody wants to take the risk. However, it should be noted, Vietnam still do not have a jungler locked in.
Right. The thing is, Lindis is such a powerful jungler. She doesn't really have much of a counter, right? Even if you go for an assassin to dive the backline, she still can kind of fend for herself. And if you're going to pick a specific assassin to take her out, it's going to be Crickneck, and Crickneck can't be picked right now.
Can I interest you in banning a kill drop?
Interesting. So they want Omen to go unopposed because we already have Yina out of the picture. Well, no, we don't. At least not for Chinese Taipei. We have the Florentino out of the picture, the Richter. Looks like Vietnam are probably going to ban Yina, if not perhaps Lubu.
So what's interesting to me is that ban is a target at both Yuzon and Neil, because Dan Kilgroth has played real well in the jungle and the side lane for Chinese Taipei. So it feels a little bit like Vietnam are just covering the bases, banning out as much as they can.
Right.
But anti-CC, of course, works real well into a net and Omen, so that might also be why they got rid of that.
Kind of. Omen, once he locks down the Kilgroth into his death embrace, Kilgroth actually can't escape. He can actually pop Warlord before that happens. Which, I mean, I guess you could if you're really good, which Chinese Taipei is. But I think that this is definitely a side lane ban.
Jungle focus from Chinese Taipei. They get rid of Zil and Muran. Both good counters to the Lindis. You want an assassin who can dive in and not take the sustained damage. Both Zil and Muran are invulnerable during their ultimates, which means that Lindis can't out-sustain damage them. Which means Vietnam are in trouble with this jungle lock unless they pull out the Darcy. I think Darcy's pretty 50-50. Would you agree with that? Actually, you said during the group stage, Darcy won every time into Lindis, so...
Right,
the real question is, do you think Neil's Lindis?
Now we circle back to what you were saying, because Lindis can go side lane, so now if Darcy gets picked, then
they lock in the Nacroft.
Yeah.
Oh, but they wait for the last pick to do a juggler. Vietnam hold firm. Telenov's going to go in the side lanes. Chinese Taipei pull out Yina for their side lane, confirming Lindis in the jungle, and put the Praiser in their mid, confirming Sephora for a support.
Okay, this is weird. So, did Vietnam want this Yina to come out? They just wanted to have Chinese Taipei burn it here? Because otherwise, why would they ban Roxy and Kilgroth? Because Yina does a decent job against Omen as well.
Yeah, you're right. They did ban the two solid Omen counters. Maybe they just were all right with the Yina being played here. Figure, at the very least, that it's not available in the future.
Yeah.
Real question, what is this jungle for ADC? What comes out here in the jungle?
Oh boy.
Is it my boy? No, it is not. No, Darcy.
Zephyr isn't your boy.
I mean, he's alright. I hang with him sometimes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He gets locked in. We'll be hanging with him today. He's in the jungle. So that is not the Darcy we were talking about, but the Zephyrs is a solid play into Lindis because
and Prada.
He takes damage. Zephyrs is one of the tankiest junglers that still does big burst on team fights.
Right. I am wondering how ADC is going to build him, though. There is a full glass cannon Zephyrs build who, retains some of that tankiness, where you're not completely burst down if someone just looks at you like Crickneck is. That could be a definite possibility, so I'm wondering how ADC goes about this.
Vietnam's coach shouting orders. This game is an intense opportunity for them. Chinese Taipei always look business-like. I'm going to be worried if I start seeing them agitated.
I don't think they get agitated.
They haven't yet, but they also have never been down in a series yet.
Well, okay, we need to look back to 2018 AIC, where they agitated them when they lost it. to Team Flash?
They were. Then they came back the next day, won the grand finals, no problem versus this Vietnam team. But it should be noted, there is no day 2. There is no lower bracket. They lose this match here and now they're gone.
Well, they're both gone, but one goes home a winner.
They're already home, Daniel. Vietnam are sitting in the stadium surrounded by their home.
What if they don't live in Da Nang?
It's a national sort of concept.
Okay. Anyway, the bear and the bull. Which wins actually? A bear and a bull. They both look pretty ferocious.
What?
Look at the water sculptures.
They were ice sculptures, first of all. Game number 2
How do you
of
know?
the AWC. This is everything, I think, because if Vietnam are able to show they can repeat that, there are no doubts for me. Here we go, a second chance for Vietnam to plant their flag in the grand final. Chinese Taipei need to step back up.
Ooh, Pro E taking a lot of damage.
A little bit of poke, nothing that can't be handled.
This
Look
is my
at
favorite. This is my favorite, TJ. The double bands mid, the geometry. It's here. We got it.
Yeah, but look at the geometry result. That means Star is playing that fighter in the bottom lane.
It actually might be safer, right? Because it's hard to play Varus against
Versus
the Telenos.
a Telenos.
Yeah, but Varus against Telenos is pretty difficult as well. Star can stand pretty far back, still get the play clicker off, and ensure that he's able to clear the wave. Oh, this is scary. Oh, that was scary. He already used the punish.
Didn't have a way to secure that, but Pro E does not steal away the blue buff.
I think Pro E just assumed.
Pro E assumed the punish was still up and it was going to be an easy pickup for Neil.
Yeah, and it wasn't the case. Maybe Neil assumed that he would assume that would happen.
Whoa!
It's not that deep, but Neil's like, I'm really good. You should respect me. I would never use my punish.
Oh,
Except when he
XP! Don't do it to him. Guys over the wall just interrupts his recall.
That's kind of hard to hit the Ion Blast, the middle one. I don't know why it's hard for me to aim that. Aim is bad.
That actually does sound like a personal problem, Daniel. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's a long-range Ion Blast. It's a very thin wave, especially when you immediately use it after the Lightning Strike.
Let's talk builds. You said you were paying a lot of attention to that Zephyrs. He's going Leviathan. That's pretty bulk standard, right?
Yeah, it's pretty standard. I don't like it, but it's standard.
Typically, you go for a little bit more of a tanky build on the Zephyrs. Oh,
Zizon.
Hit for the Spirit Sentinel. ADC's
the
caught
silence.
out. Full stop chain. He can't do nothing. First blood to Chinese Taipei.
So this is a major mix-up here for Chinese Taipei. They usually don't group up like this as
XB's
four.
stunned up. Mid lane, Neil wants the damage. He'll scare XB back at half HP. Pro E's still in trouble. Has to burn a flicker to get to safety.
Ellie there to save him as well. Oh my goodness, Yuzon already level 4. He can start calming on Cow.
Here's the Abyssal Dragon. Pro E trying to focus it down. He's got Ellie and ADC in. ADC on the wall, but Win still gets it. Chinese Taipei in control.
Star unable to really help that team fight. He does pop his ultimate there to try to help out, but doesn't get anything done. I think if he were in that fight, they could have really punished the side of Vietnam for being in the vicinity.
Ellie and Pro E will be playing back behind their wave here in the bottom lane. And that frees up the support for Chinese Taipei to rotate around.
Yeah, you're really starting to see how the lineup that they've put together for Chinese Taipei is working out, right? Or the way they position themselves on the map. Because Wings is in the middle, he's able to rotate to either side very easily. And you see that Star isn't any worse for wear because he's in the bottom lane. He has that massive range, so he's not really getting jumped on very easily.
Benny with Neil and Wins towards the mid lane. And like you were saying, that's unusual. Having that many players grouped up together isn't normally how Chinese Taipei play during the early game.
Yeah, that's usually how Vietnam goes, but Chinese Taipei realizes this is a different team and they need to play differently.
XB to chase, Pro E round the side.
Oh, that Tidal Life burned really fast.
Benny was very nervous about getting caught out there. Still some nerves from game 1.
Right, and that's just the fear that Vietnam can put into you. It could be just 4 people jumping you from behind the bush, DJ. It could happen at any moment.
And this is, like you said, the most shaken we've seen Chinese Taipei. In no previous game does Benny feel pressured enough to burn that Tides of Life there.
Yeah, there's no way. He's someone who would hold us to the last moment there. Neil, though, he's starting to get farmed up, and this is really good if you are a Chinese Taipei fan.
The jungler battle, game number 1, dominant to ADC. He doesn't really have the ability to be that dominant here in game 2.
Yeah, he can't farm nearly as quickly as he could when he was Crickneck. So that makes it a little bit harder for him to start taking control of the game. Oh,
Gao didn't steal away that buff.
yeah, I was wondering, that was a punish. He doesn't have punish, so it's a bit weird. He did flicker away, though. That's a very long cooldown.
I was just worried Gao would get caught.
Yeah, well, that's why he burned the flicker, but...
What?
Again,
Betty, why is he so fast? He sprinted.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sprint's a good ability.
Zoom.
Ever since they buffed it a little while ago.
ADC him. He doesn't care. Benny knocked low.
That time, Benny doesn't use his ult, so he learned his lesson from before, realizing that as long as you know exactly where the Vietnam team is, you don't need to burn that type of life.
As long as you're moving at Mach 5. Gao caught out though.
No
Neil
flicker.
had used on through the silence, pays off. Neil will do the damage during the meantime. But Gao pops the untouchable. He gets to safety, spending the Desert Brace as well for mobility. That tower won't save him. Benny with the ties of life keeps Yuzon up. Now Chinese Taipei wave cut and steal jungle.
Extremely smart from Chinese Taipei. They saw that he ran away, which means he used his Death Embrace. There's no way to pop him under there.
Star in the bottom lane, picks up Vietnam, strike back the first to the game. Wins caught out as well. Win cuts from Proe, keeps him locked down, ensures that ADC gets away, knocks the tower down to half HP.
Yeah, and the Hurricane will ensure that he really couldn't get towards that minion wave in time. Had he used the Venom just to get over there.
XB.
Oh, the damage coming out to XB.
Did he just Thunderbird that minion?
Well, I mean, he damaged it, you know, incidentally. By the way, for those Zephyr players out there, if you pop your water wall in a bush, they cannot see the water wall as long as you don't damage the opponent with your passive. So that's why you see Benny in the bushes. XP cannot see that.
Not until it lands on him, at least.
But Benny missed, unfortunately.
So, bot lane Pricer, how's it working out for you?
Pretty well, actually. Even though he got picked up one time, he is getting some decent farm. It's been I mean, the only time he did get picked up, it was a massive gank over to that side, so a lot of resources spent. I think it's working out pretty well.
Zephyr's not having the best game by contrast, but the damage from this team comes from Ellie in the bottom lane on that Telenar.
Right, and this is why I'm a bit concerned about someone who builds Leviathan. Now he's going to start building into that damage. You see the short sword on him.
Win cups, Benny, it's fine. Benny survives.
Now they're rotating over to the bot, trying to cut off aggressively into the jungle of Chinese Taipei here. Look at this. Bush party bottom lane.
Will anyone poke into it? Wins does. Figures out there's a bush party.
Star's like, can someone look at that bush, please? I kind of feel a presence here. Oh, speaking of which.
Neil Yuzon want to go in. Neil dives in. He doesn't know how many there are. Here comes Vietnam. Neil and Elling gets the kill. Shuts him down. Still alive too. Elling versus Win to the front of the fight. Full ties of life for Benny. Turns the tables. And Gao was trapped to the front line. He's got to heal. He'll get away. They turn the fight. Vietnam should have come out on top, but they still fall behind. ADC and Elling both gone for only Neil and Trey.
The classic Vietnam aggression comes out. Ellie in the front lines to take out Neil, but that turns on them at a moment's notice as Yuzon comes in to pick up the trash. By the way, at the end of that fight, Gao nearly got hit by the water wall, but cut back in, went back towards Benny in order to dodge that absolute amazing play for him to make sure they don't get even farther behind.
That is the kind of play I look to see in a grand finals, in a world finals.
Absolutely, and these teams are so evenly matched. I mean, we didn't expect to say coming into it.
Whistle Dragon taken by Chinese Taipei. They've got it now.
All right, so ADC has Astral Spear now. He's going to do a little bit more damage going forward. He finally has that damage to his name. He also has the burn, obviously, from Leviathan.
You know, I did say I thought this would go to Vietnam in Game 7. I didn't think that, like, the Game 7 would start in Game 1. This Game 2 has some real Game 7 energy, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wait, is it Game 1 or Game 2? Where are you going?
Yes!
Yes, all.
XB having to play it safe, ADC and Proe towards the mid lane.
Look how aggressive Neil is. He just walks into them, into 4.
And that mid lane engagement is what I mean by Game 7 energy. It's not just a meme. Both teams are clustering their players together, not willing to take any risks. That's the kind of careful play you typically only see in a Game 7 where both teams just don't want to lose at any cost.
They're being careful with their grouping, but they're not being careful with their play. The aggression is all turned all the way to max.
Proe for the stun. Oh! He's cut off. Tides of Life will get him out.
And Sprint as well. Nice try, but Benny is a hard one to lock down. And now the tower's dying to 2. They're like, wait a second, we have a 3v2 here.
Gao in the top lane, he's in trouble as well. Neil doesn't get the tower though. Too wary to step in range of the Death's Embrace.
TJ, this is what aggression can buy you here. Because the Chinese Taipei was so aggressive, Vietnam overestimated how many people were there. They actually had a 4v2 potentially if they brought everyone, but because Chinese Taipei came so hard at them, they're thinking, oh, we can't defend this, when in fact they actually could.
Dark Slayer will be picked up, further enabling the Chinese Taipei aggression. 10-minute mark again. Dark Slayer scooped up.
Vietnam has to back off here. There wasn't even damage put onto them. Let's talk about some builds for a second. Knight's Plate here and the Astral Spear picked up for wins, provides him lots of pierce and that armor as well to his name. So he's not going to be pretty tanky, but also deal a bit of damage as well. He's Vaihunter, that purple sword on the Freda. He's the only one who actually needs it, but it's very vital for him because what it does is allow him to get 50% extra attack speed, and that's what he wants whenever he pops his ultimate.
The extra attack speed makes brighter, makes it brighter.
Yeah, and that's why you build it immediately after Over the Magi. Banyan wins. What?
Oh.
2v3.
A little bit too far forward. Wins. Will get stunned out there. Neil's there in the area, though. Vietnam don't want to take a fight, and that's a strange sentence to say.
Yeah, so strange because, like, again, that was a 2v3 that they were trying to pull off there. Chinese Taipei, again, their aggression is paying off. They're scaring Vietnam back. Yes, they have a gold lead, but it's only about 4,000. It's not something that's crazy.
Red team tower has been destroyed.
Nothing crazy at all, and yet Chinese Taipei have made a game out of this, made a series out of this by doing so.
Right. If Vietnam, duplicated game one, this would have been scary times. But as expected of the reigning international champions, they're bringing it this time.
Here's the push. Benny eats a tower shot. Drake working away. Vietnam can't get onto the Drake to kill it. Now they do, and now the mid lane's in trouble. There's the poke forward. That high ground tower is gone, and Wiz keeps going deep into the team. He's got the life fuel, but the Death's Embrace isolates him. There will be the time to blind, but it does not matter. Just like that, they're down a player. Wiz is gone permanently.
They nearly got Benny as well. Benny tried to stick around the area to try to get one more water wall, but Ellie nearly killed him. I think Ellie, if he just pushed a little bit farther forward, could have killed him. Obviously, he doesn't have the vision that we do, this bird's eye view, so he didn't know that he could go a little bit farther forward to finish him off.
What a good defensive team fight from Vietnam, though. That keeps them in this game.
Does for the time being. As we mentioned earlier, only 4,000 down in that goal deficit. So if they have an even fight, or perhaps a fight that they have a slightly better positioning on, they could easily take it.
Gao stunned down. All of Vietnam want to group up now. Look at this Game 7 energy. Sure, it's only Game 2, but look at that 5-man stack, Daniel.
Oh my God.
I don't think it's Game 7 energy I'm sensing. I think it's World Final energy.
You know what? You putting that out actually just makes me more bummed out because this feels like gold.
Well, maybe the team tactics are as safe as gold, but the team fights and the mechanical play in them are absurdly coordinated.
Yeah, I'm loving the skill that the show that these two teams are performing for us at the moment. So don't talk about 5v5 anymore. Makes you think the wrong thing.
These are some good 5v5s.
They're beautiful.
Dark Slayer focused in. Wins on it, probably stunned back when he tries to get vision. Star actually pokes him low as well. The Chinese Taipei don't want a fight. That's a sentence I'm used to saying.
Actually, no, I think Star wanted to push him back toward him. He just didn't have the range on it.
The play calm a little bit short.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard to land those, especially on good moving targets.
Yeah, it doesn't have quite the range. If it had crazy range, it would be a lot better. Oh, Star!
Too far forward. Thunderbird, they've got the kill. Vietnam find an isolation pick immediately after the Dark Slayer take. And Benny's pretty far forward. They want more.
Don't walk into the bush. What an incredible water wall that was.
Don't walk into the bushes, right?
Neil!
Stunned up ADC up the wall, that's too far forward. Scud will come through, Winston's already dove. Neil's got it trade. He stays alive for a very long time, but it will not turn to fight. Tides of life now through. Wait, rolling up.
Ellie and Neil!
Ellie's bones fluttered, did so much damage. He trades 1 for 1, but Neil is just the kills, and Neil walks up to the core. Looking for game number 2. That man has just single-handedly secured this game. Chinese Taipei answer back. they will have game 2. They will have an even score in this grand final.
Did anyone ask for a quad kill? Because I think I heard it. Neil popping off at exactly the right moment, capitalizing on the missed death from above, says, you're mine, and yeah, you too.
Game number 1 was ADC's. Game number 2, Neil's back.
Hey, how about that? Production was right.
Yep.
It's a pretty good matchup.
What an incredible series.
Yeah, just beautiful gameplay thus far, and I'm ecstatic to see the real Chinese Taipei return in game number 2. They're the ones who put the fear in their opponent, TJ.
That's so much more like how we theory crafted this series would go. Early game, dominant to Chinese Taipei. Second, it goes late. Chinese Taipei's predilection to extend games starts to bite them in the back as Vietnam find isolated kills, and you get the feeling with one good team fight, they could have turned that game.
And the funny thing is, they had a 5v2, TJ.
Yeah.
And all of them fell.
All of them fell.
Neil's like, wait a second, I got a lot of space here.
Let's take a look at Neil. Those 4 kills, fun fact, his only kills that game.
Well, what he was doing the entire time was just chunking someone down and running away because he knows that Vietnam loves to group up on those type of situations. So he didn't want to go too far until he saw an opportunity to get in on them.
He will Hyogia's edge.
Yeah. Speeds you up by 10%, slows him down by 25% every time you get an attack off. And Lunar Champion counts as an attack because Lindis.
That explains to me somehow, because Lindis normally moves fast, but when he was able to chase down all 5 members of that team, I was thinking he was moving entirely too fast, and now I know why. Every attack he was landing was giving him a little bit of a speed boost.
Nothing is too fast for Lindis.
Nothing is too fast for Neil. The man is a madman. Welcome to the replay.
So this is the game. This is the movement, or the moment. Oh, no, excuse me.
That
was the time
Neil.
when Ellie went forward, and Chinese Taipei actually flipped this.
This was Ellie, and I thought for sure he had the bite. Then Benny comes in. By the way, played an incredible game. Sephora, clearly the best support in the video game. That's what I've learned. And he turns that fight.
I just love this because Neil turns around, he's like, wait a second, I could just kill everyone? Is that how this works? All right.
Benny gets him in. Neil plays behind Benny, and it just works perfectly. He gets 1. He gets 2.
Yeah. So, and you saw in that close range fight between Ellie and Lindis. Ellie and Neil. Telenos versus Lindis. To get to that point, Lindis has it hands down.
Yeah.
Because Telenos obviously has a range. She can kill you from very, very far away. But when it gets close to that close range battle, especially with the farm that Neil had, just throwing out this Lunar Champion.
The jungle items are just so powerful. Even if Telenos and Lindis are relatively equivalent and can play them in lane against each other, and I would say I'd even give that matchup a little bit to Telenos. A full farmed jungle Lindis, you just run from. Unless you have dive burst.
And the very nice thing there was Benny purposely popped his Tides of Life, even though he didn't necessarily need to use it then, because he wanted to know that Neil would get in on the fight.
Is Neil your MVP?
Of course.
He is the stadium's MVP as well. That'll be the Chinese Taipei. That'll be the Chinese Taipei MVP for game number 2, and I couldn't agree more. 4 deaths, 3 assists, and 1 death, 4 kills, and 3 assists.
The thing is, it wasn't just those 4 kills, right? Because before that, he was constantly forcing members back with just some burst damage and then running away.
He was the reason that game was so dominant for them, because they won that aggression early.
Right.
And that was what we were expecting. Coming into the series, we were talking a ton about Chinese Taipei's early game, Vietnam's early game weakness. I think game 1 was an exception because we didn't ever see that Chinese Taipei early game come online. Instead, we just saw Vietnam run them over.
If I'm the Vietnamese coach, though, I tell them, just do what you did in game 1. Because what happened was their aggression scared Chinese Taipei away.
Do they need a Sephora for that?
I mean, Sephiroth's gone.
Right. So do they need a Sephora for that?
No. You don't need a Sephora. I mean, you basically just need to stay aggressive and make it seem just like puff out your chest, right? Like you're in the wild. Because that's what both teams did. Both teams were unusually timid in the games that they lost because they didn't know what was going to happen because the aggressive team was acting like they had more numbers than they had.
This is a good time to mention, of course, with these MVPs being handed out, that for the first time in AOV history, the MVP, the final MVP, will get a skin made for them with Tencent. So that's really exciting, and I can't wait to see who that finally goes to. We're going to wrap things up, go back down to the stage. Don't go far. We'll be right back. You are back at the AIC 2019 and the score is tied 1-1 in the grand final. Daniel, I couldn't have asked for a better game.
They're back. Are we back?
My name's TJ. I'm back. That's Daniel. He's
Hi.
not sure if he's back. Chinese Taipei struck back. They even up the scoreline with Vietnam, who took game 1. Now, the question everyone is asking headed into game 2, which team figured out which?
I don't think either.
You think they're both flukes?
Yeah, I think like both times, both teams, or excuse me, Chinese Taipei in game number 1,
Right.
and Vietnam in game number 2, that was not them. And I think that both teams, they needed to powwow, and now in game 3, the series really starts.
Now in game 3, the series really starts because both teams have had an opportunity to win, opportunity to lose, and maybe they've figured out something along the way. I certainly feel like Chinese Taipei made a conscious decision coming out of that game 1. They said, okay, we need to play aggressive early, otherwise Vietnam are going to bully us.
Right, a slight change where they said, you know that four-man gank thing you did?
Right.
Let's try that.
Well, it's so strange because that for so long was the Chinese Taipei playstyle. Their early game ganks, though not quite that early, their early game ganks were the stuff of legend.
Right. But the reason why they were so impressive is because it was usually a 2, at most 3-man gank.
Right.
And they had everyone else on the other side of the map properly farming. If you look at the stats, this Chinese Taipei team has the least assists in the entire AWC despite having the best KDA.
They don't team fight.
Right, they just have like little skirmishes by themselves. They're really good at that. They're really good at that. Two people coming.
The reason their KDA is the best in the AWC is because they don't die.
Yeah. Whereas this Vietnam team has the highest average assist in the entire AWC because they're really good. They're really good at just 4 people hide in the bush and boom, you're dead. It's really terrifying. And you can see why Chinese Taipei was a little bit spooked after that. But they said, you know what? We can't play this game scared. That's not how we got here. That's not how we're champions. And they made the adjustment. They said, you know, what if we just rotate as 4 first?
Yeah. So now the question is, can Vietnam make a similar adjustment? They've had a game they've won, they've had a game they've lost. That's both data points. Now game 3 has to be the closest one yet, or just Vietnam switching it back on. We'll find out in a moment. I'm particularly keeping my eye on the jungle matchup. Neil facing off against ADC. That's gone both ways so far. ADC looked dominant. Then all of a sudden, Neil comes back game 2, picks up Melindis. He's back on form. That too could go either way.
And I think what we showed here was that the team with the earlier jungle ended up winning, the earlier farm.
Right. The team that was able to get ahead, the team that had that aggression, be it from the Sephora, be it from their dominant jungle, seems to pretty consistently come out ahead. There is that Vietnam team that needs to be able to step back up. You said it was the early aggression that won them game 1. It was the lack of aggression that lost them game 2. What are they drafting to look for it in game 3?
Well, the common theme from both games, other than the Sephora, was that both teams with the faster jungler won.
Right.
That jungler is faster than Quillen, Linus jungler is faster than Zephyrus. So, is it that important to gain the early momentum?
You know what's a real fast jungler? Darcy.
It's true. So was Necroth. So was Zill, actually.
I think we're going to see that Darcy-Nacroft matchup both ways before the series is done.
Yeah.
Because at some point, right, ADC and Niels Nacroft are just both so good. At some point, you have to say, okay, we're picking Darcy, and we're going to see how this plays out. We trust our jungler.